Yo, what's up? It's Manoj, and I actually was reviewing a call I had with one of my coaching clients, and it was something that I didn't realize how much crazy sales sauce would be in there. It's very nuanced. It's not just reviewing a sales script, but it's also, what tonality you should be using. How do you mirror and label people? How do you really find a pain point and find the implication of that pain point? Because I feel like a lot of salespeople I've trained, they're good at finding the problems, but they're not good at diving deeper into that problems, right? Because if they have a problem, what is the implication of that problem? What does that do to their life? And you can just keep going down the rabbit hole without asking questions, without seeing super obvious. Honestly, it's just having a genuine conversation with a normal person and then actually trying to find what the root cause of the problem is, where they're at, get personal, get deep. Almost like be a therapist is kind of what I mentioned in this video. Because if you're able to do that, you connect on a prospect on a level that no one's ever connected with them on before, then you will be powerful as a salesperson and you'll get really far in your discovery phase. So hopefully it's helpful. Watch the rest of the video. I know it's an hour long, but you're going to get a lot out of it.
Yo, what's up,
Hey
bro?
Manoj, how's it
Hey,
going?
John. Dude, good, man. It's good to see your face and hear your voice. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good, good. I just woke up a little earlier, slept in a little bit, but
Right.
good with the new offer.
Yeah,
Between Monday to Thursday, I was just training and trying to understand what they wanted me to do.
yeah,
'Cause there's some interesting things that I haven't tried before with like reframes and pre-objection handling, but
yeah, yeah,
I had two calls on Thursday. One went terrible. The other one went pretty well, especially
mhm,
for the second call.
yeah,
Third one closed it, and then I had another yesterday, and it went well, but he just wasn't financially in a good position. So,
yeah, of course.
um, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't feel nervous anymore on how I can do it, and I'm starting to train my ears a little bit on what I need to look for and
Yeah,
dive deeper into.
dude, I am so freaking happy for you, bro. I think this offer
Yeah,
is great. Obviously, Trey, like, we can both speak for his character, just amazing, amazing guy. So it's like I think this resonates, man. Like, I think this is a great path forward for you. I mean, nothing is wrong with getting better at sales. That's like you can never go
yeah,
wrong in increasing your sales skill and getting more reps with that. So even as you're building like your brand, like I one thing I will say is like don't obviously stop building your brand and like kind of your ability to help people externally. But I think this is a great opportunity, and I think you're doing good work. So it's really cool, man.
yeah,
I'm really glad this worked out.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I see this as like a thing that's going to help me get better to where I need to be for something greater in the future, but I don't see it as like a purpose or something like that. I don't see it as
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So yeah, definitely something that's going to get me better though. And I'm happy for it. Um, but yeah, I think maybe we can dive into
yeah,
one of the calls.
yeah. Let's do it.
Um, there's one where my frame was off, so he tried to wiggle out of it, but he wasn't financially in a good spot.
Mm.
We can watch the one that I closed.
Yeah, for
Actually, let me
sure.
go over the script first to
Yes,
kind of show you what's different.
that's rock and roll.
All right.
All right.
So it's pretty simple for the most part. Same thing. The only thing that's different is after we start to clear up the pain and dive into that, we do like pre-objection handling, and I'm sure you know that, but then
Mm,
also like they call it a reframe.
mm,
So I have to identify false beliefs that might be in the way as well.
yeah,
So for the one that I closed, I got him to realize that, okay, you've been in this position financially for 3 years. And you mentioned, I asked him, like, okay, why haven't you, reached out for support or got a mentorship or invested into a skill set? Like, why
yeah,
haven't you done that? And he said something around confusion, something around comfort. So then I had to show him how those beliefs around comfort and around confusion and not taking action, despite not knowing everything, was the real thing that was holding him back. He agreed with it, and then I was able to move on. And because I did that, when I started to drop price and I talked about the program and everything, he really liked it, but there's still that little bit of fear. So all I had to do is just remind him of that previous conversation, and then he went forward and pretty much paid in full.
nice.
So it's cool, but it can't be totally scripted.
Mhm.
I think that's why I'm still trying to learn it. The first two calls I was jumping around on this, and the third and fourth one was clear and straightforward. So you just get them to tie down,
Hmm.
"Hey, you've been in this pain for this long. This hurts you in this way. What's kept you from taking action in this seriously by investing into coach?" Um, they'll give that objection or limiting belief, and this is part of the script, but I don't dive into it first. I tie it down. I start to really talk about it a little bit, um, and the goal is to get them to. I sh- the first two calls I coached them on this. The
Yeah.
second two I asked questions and actually made them believe they already made that change. That's why
Hmm.
they're on the call.
Yeah.
Um, so that's that. So tied down, maybe add like a consequence question as well to it. Like if you don't change this belief or whatever um, limiting belief, where would you be in 1 to 2 years? Get them to admit that the results is a reflection of the mindset that they've had around XYZ. And then from there, go into the desired state and tie everything back into if we were to help you with high ticket sales and get into the industry. And then Gap, pretty much same thing from there. So that's really the only thing that's different from what you've been teaching me and also what Trey's taught me as well.
Hmm.
It's new, it's different, but if I can learn this, I can be really good. I know the other closer in the community who's um, started on the offer I think 2 months ago. Month two, 37% close rate. Month three, he just closed out at closing over 100 grand cash, and you'll get a bonus. So you'll make 12K this month. And I have more
Awesome.
experience, so hopefully I can get even higher than that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, but definitely different. But it's effective if I can nail it.
Mhm. Yeah, dude, I think that's great. It's nice to have and we talked about like pre-handling objections a lot, right? It's just kind of like it's just so nice to make a price drop and then like all the shit is done before, right?
Yeah.
So I know I love that. That's a great model. And yeah, I think the questioning is kind of the key part, right? Like obviously you can I know a lot of sales trainers was like, hey, kind of share perspective on that, but that's kind of like if like you have to, that's kind of like gears up the engine, like sometimes you just have to like
Yeah.
pull it and then you just kind of go back into questioning. So I think no, I think that's great, man. Really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you feel
Awesome.
comfortable with that? Like, is that kind of like what you're struggling with, or what?
If it comes to fear or uncertainty, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's second nature. Not like I was doing that technique beforehand, but I can see it. I have ears for it.
Yeah.
Price or like there's some other things I need to work on with that. That's just new to me. So that's another thing that was tripped me up on the second call, but it wasn't an issue for the other ones. So I think once I understand what to listen for and I see more examples, I'll kind of get a grasp of it. But it depends on which one it is.
Yeah. No, that's really helpful actually. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I can talk about what I'd recommend for that, but also like I know you want me to read the sales call, so we can do that. But for
Sure.
pre-handling objections, yeah, like it's hard to script, but it's what's even more. But what is helpful is writing down all the objections prospects could have, or like most prospects will have, right? So if it is a price objection. Right. So usually what I do is like, to be fair, it's kind of like inherent in me. So like I can do it naturally, but like if like what I used to do before is just like write down those objections and know in the discovery phase that I have to solve that somehow. Right. So I
Mm,
ask questions or I kind of gauge where they're at. Not only like the factual things about their business or like their life situation, but it's more of like that related to the emotion behind it. Right. So if it is price, fear, uncertainty, obviously, fear, uncertainty pretty well, but maybe they're like that confusion part, like that was a great example, like confusion, lack of taking action that's kept them in the past, right? So you just unable to see their pain, right? Because they're pain avoidant. That's a huge one, right? So it's like once you can kind of solve that beforehand, like pre-handling it, so it's just helpful, like just almost like write a checklist, like here are the objections, right? Most people will have, right? Make it comprehensive, and then just like check it as you go. It's like okay,
mm,
pre-handled, pre-handled, pre-handled. So when you get to the price drop, it's like a lot easier, if that makes sense,
sure.
right? And then just have like some techniques and perspectives that you can just grip. Like for example, like a price one, really good one is like at the beginning of the call or somewhere like just like as a aside, you can say like, yeah, dude, like I've invested literally like in $15,000 programs. Spent over 100K in my education. So like, yeah, I understand that. it's really cool that you see the power of investing in yourself, and then you just keep going, right? So
Mhm.
like you can like put aside where it's like you kind of like price sync or something. Like 100K, I've done 15K. Oh, what's the price of this program right now? Like the
6,400.
yeah, so like you can price anchor. Like I've spent much like 10K on this or like whatever, right? It's like so it's like I really it's like you're not like and then you can identity for anchor, right? It's like you're not like one of the
Mhm.
other people who don't take action or like are not willing to ask for help. The fact that you're on this call means you're so vulnerable and like you're the type of person who wants to take action and change. That's fucking amazing, man. Right? Like you know how, like that's so powerful,
Yeah.
right? Like, and this doesn't even have to be part like this doesn't even have to be part of the sales process. Meaning it's like oh he has uncertainty. I'm just gonna say this. Like, can I share a perspective on that?
Mhm.
It can literally just be like some
Right.
random aside in any place in the sales call, right? Because the thing about sales and the top salespeople I know are they're so subtle. Like you can't tell they're actually selling you because it just feels so natural, right? Because they
Mhm.
say shit like that. It's just like almost like an aside that like the you can't pick that up in the conscious brain, right? Because they don't know that
Yeah.
there is like a pre-handle, like a pre-frame, like a perspective that is shared before you even ask the question, right? So have like little things like that that just kind of like price anchor, trigger, like identity frame. So it's like you're not that identity. So when you actually ask the question, they're more likely to believe it's their idea, right?
Right.
So that's really powerful, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
That makes sense. I know they're giving me a couple examples. I just need to script it out for like analogies to use. So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
And I like it too. It's a fun way to do sales. It's new and it's uh more so like coaching and
yeah,
psychology than actual sales.
yeah. Really.
Um,
Okay.
cool. So I can send you this one. This is one that I closed, but I'm
Yeah,
sure there's stuff I can do much better. Um, oh, my keyboard's messing up. I might need a new cable. Let me see if I can do it this way. If you have time, we can do the other one, my second call. I got the first half reviewed, just not the second half.
that's good.
So you turn on audio.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yep, sure. All right. So Eli earning 250K. Okay, grocery store. Mindset shift.
Call. Also want to understand where you want to get to and kind of what your goals are for doing all this stuff and making changes. And honestly, I'm just asking these questions to see why you haven't been able to make those changes and see if we can help you fill in those gaps, right? We're not able to help everybody, right? If that's the case, I feel like we can help you. We'll go over what that process will look like, kind of answer your questions, go through that. But if you're not a good fit for whatever reason, I'll communicate that to you. We might end the call a little bit early, but I'll try to help you best we can. So is that fair enough?
Yep, sounds good.
Cool, dude. So I think a good place to start, man, is just asking like, yeah, what led you to be on this?
Yeah, solid. Very, very clean intro. I think. And is that kind of like what they say to do the intro? Was that scripted or
No, just the current state, desired state, gap, good fit, not good fit, not good fit, just like those high level.
yeah, what do they want scripted and what do they are they okay with you kind of just so I know like
I've
what
winged it each call and I haven't gotten any feedback yet on it. So the two that they've reviewed, they had no problem with it. So I just kind
okay.
of let
Got
it
it. So
roll.
they're letting you experiment to see what's good with you, but they give you a structure so like for training, so like you're not just like alone. Is that kind of
Yeah,
okay? Okay, that's helpful.
sure.
So in that case,
Application a little bit just to see kind of what's going on. But to give you some clarity about kind of how the call is going to go, I'm just going to ask you some questions just to really understand where you're at right now, what your situation looks like, and what has you on the call. Also want to understand where you want to get to, and kind of what your goals are for doing all this stuff and making changes. And honestly, I'm just asking these questions to see why you haven't been able to make those changes and see if we can help you fill in those gaps. Right? We're not able to help.
I would say so. Do a lot of people come on calls and they're like on phone cameras or what is the vibe? You know, are they on? I'm just curious. Like, are they on
Yeah,
laptop or
it varies. The first one it was someone in their house on the phone. He was kind of doing stuff, and I got called out. The second one, he was driving, and I got him to turn on his camera, and he was like in a Tesla, so I was like, maybe I can do it, but I should have got him to reschedule. This guy in the description, he said, I don't have a webcam, so I'm going to be on
oh
my
yeah,
phone.
yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, cool. It's not a
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah. If he literally doesn't, yeah. That's why he's coming to you guys for help, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
because what I would say is, just as like a framing, this like obviously is super nuanced, but you like how you frame yourself in the camera kind of matters, right? So like if you want to do authenticity, and be like, hey, dude, I was in a place where you're at, right? Coming a little bit closer, having the eyes at the two-thirds mark or the one-third mark kind of gives you a little bit more
Mm.
like certainty, right? So and kind of like marrying his body language is helpful. And also, you have to play around with this because the mic is good for audio, but what it does is it might distance yourself from the prospect because either it gives you authority. So if you want to do authority play, that's fine. But also, it lacks, and it's very subtle, right? But like a 10% or 20% reduction in uh, like personableness, right? It's like, oh, he's
Yeah.
distant. He's like external person. He's
Salesman.
different. He's a salesperson, right? Whereas if you're just like on a camera and you're just like some dude, right? It lowers sales resistance a little bit, right?
Mm.
And obviously you can have books in the background and other status symbols don't affect that personalness, right? Or that sales filter because it's just like, oh yeah, you read books. It's just like your background, right? And if they ask you,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's I'm just in my library, or so hopefully it's not distracting, and you just get into it, right? And especially on an offer like this, more B2C, like B2B, like doesn't matter. In fact, they might, but like I would say this more B2C offer, like sometimes it might just give you a more personal vibe, right? Because you can see
Sure.
you're standing off like this, and you're just kind of like, yep. So what we're gonna do, right? So, but if you're like here, is like, hey man, like what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. Is that cool? Like they feel like you're involved, right? Just even me leaning forward, it's like, hey dude, we're in this together. Like you ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you can do strategic pullbacks, right? Because right now, like since your body language is just so it doesn't, you can't actually change it in your position,
Yeah.
right? You can kind of lean it, but like since the mic's in the way, it's just like you're limited to only just like this. But if you can
Sure.
lean forward like this and be like, yeah, and honestly, dude, like you just kind of go back and say a point, right? Like some aside, but anyways, and yeah, come back. You see how like how instantly that changes the interaction?
Yeah.
And so I think that'd be a very easy way for you to just that has nothing to do with what you're saying. It's literally just like a camera angle that would instantly improve your sales, right? Or your
Sure.
so that's just like
Just
a
like tonality and being up and down and kind of balance with this, just with body language. That's cool.
yeah, literally just
I
body
think
language.
that makes sense.
So that's just because
Start a
obviously the words
call,
you're
lean
saying.
in.
Yeah, yeah, obviously. Because for example, it's like you can talk and you just do a like, hey dude, all right, so I just want to start the call. So how this call is gonna go? It's like, is that fine? So yeah, dude. So tell me, like, what is blah, blah, blah? Oh, that's so interesting. Do you see how like I'm just like leaning
Yeah.
back and forth, and that actually
Yeah.
impacts what I'm saying, right? Like you can probably feel an emotional difference in how I just impacted you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I'm standing back, and then
Sure.
I'm like, yeah. So tell me, right? Instantly, it's like a totally different, right? So I think that'd be just such an easy win for you because it doesn't change what you're saying. It's literally just like a camera. Right? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, here, let's keep going though.
Help everybody, right? If that's the case, I feel like we can help you. We'll go over what that process will look like, kind of answer your questions, go through that. But if you're not a good fit for whatever reason, I'll communicate that to you. We might end the call a little bit early, but I'll try to help you best we can. So is that fair enough?
Yep, sounds good.
Cool, dude. So I think a good place to start, man, is just asking, like, yeah, what led you to be on this call? Like, what motivated you to reach out?
I'm kind of working, like I'm sure you read, I'm working at a grocery store right now,
Mhm.
which is making ends meet, but it's just not the type of money that I'd like to be earning. So, I've been praying about job opportunities and over here on the West Coast because I'm in California.
Another easy thing would be just to look at the webcam when someone's talking, like as much as possible, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
or wherever your camera is, because especially when someone's again, these are just body language cues. I'm just giving you because you obviously know sales. I'm just giving you a little bit more nuance. It's like if you look at someone's eyes while they're talking to you, it's like a lot more powerful, right? Obviously, I'm looking
Yeah.
at the screen so I can look at your body language, but like if I was talking to you, or if I was actually doing sales, like I'd be like looking at the camera as much as possible. Kind of the dark room is
Mm.
harder to see, but like I used to when I first started, like I remember years ago, I used to put arrows next to my like because I had like a normal just laptop. I used to put like sticky notes and arrows. It's like look here at the camera,
Mm.
right? To because it's just so much more powerful, right? In person, you're not going to look down, right? Like imagine you're doing
Right.
sales like that, right? So I would just practice looking at the camera, right? Because the prospect
Sure.
doesn't know what's happening, right? It's not their prerogative to look at the camera, but for you, especially when you're listening or they're saying point, it is so helpful to look at the camera. So
Yeah.
even when you're doing the pitch or sorry, the intro, like just look straight at the camera. Unless you're reading a script, that's fine. But like once you can memorize the script, just like look at the camera. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's good.
it's a bit dry over here in the central as far as jobs go. So I've just been praying about it, because of my frustrations with that, and then I just came across an ad on Instagram of Trey talking, and the fact that it was targeting Christians kind of spoke to me. And then later hearing him explain why he was targeting Christians, I really agree that a similar workspace with all the workers could be really beneficial. So that's just kind of how I really thought it would be a good opportunity, and I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to myself to at least not look into it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So it sounds like you're being prepared for this like new season, new chapter. Seems like, which is really exciting to hear. You mentioned a little bit of frustration with like your job and also kind of like the job market. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Right. So over here, a couple friends of mine, we've all gone to college, all have different degrees or certifications. I had a certification in welding. Other friends have computer science and other things like that. And it's not we're not having a good an easy time finding work out here. It's just everyone's demanding a certain amount of experience without providing experience, like providing opportunities for that experience. So I've been reluctant to go back to school because of that, but that leaves me frustrated with what do I do? Because I know people pay money to not have a job secured, and I feel like that was a problem with a lot of the colleges I've been looking at. It's just they don't really help you find a career path. They get you prepared, with a degree and all that, but actually helping you find that is something I personally would really like. So it's like,
that makes a lot of sense, man. If I'm being honest with you, I think that's a reason for a lot of people to get into this industry. So it makes sense, man. It's like, okay, maybe this pathway isn't for me. It seems like maybe you want a little bit more control over everything right now, and maybe building a skill set is your way to do that. So that makes a lot of sense, man. You mentioned you're at the grocery store right now, just kind of reading over.
Nice, the labeling. It seems like you're doing nice, solid.
How long have you been there?
I believe since August, so that would make roughly 6 months.
6 months now. And you also mentioned you had a certification in welding, right?
Would you want me to
have you had
ask
a
a
position or is
question on that though? Because I kind of labeled like maybe you want a bit of control, like that's what I got out of it. But would you rather have me like ask that as a question or get him to at least agree with it?
The lack of control, you're saying?
Yeah.
It's okay that you label there. I mean, if you really wanted to, instead of like having him agree with that, what I would have done, there's two ways. I think labeling it and having him agree to that is fine. It's a very easy way of doing it, and honestly, like that's actually really good. If you wanted to like even do it a little bit more, I would actually dive in deeper to that, right? So like instead of labeling that, I would have just mirrored him. So whatever he said, right, I'd be like letting like beat you around. And then you can just go deeper into that and then label the deeper emotion and fear, right? So like you just get deep really quickly. You know what I mean? Like the quicker you can get to deep conversations, like the more it feels like they get to know you, right? Like you get 4 minutes in, they're like, oh, I'm having a deep conversation. Then you have 30 minutes of a deep conversation. It's like so much more powerful than if you have a deep conversation like 10 minutes at the end of discovery, right? Or like 1 minute here and there, right? So that would have been an easy way because he literally just gave it to you. Like sometimes people just don't say. He literally gave you like some really deep emotional shit. You can just dive deep into that, right? And then once you label, because if you know that there's more, right? Like if there's more to go to it, instead of labeling just like the surface layer, just go super deep, 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 peel the onion, and then once you get to like the core, then label it, and it's like instantly more powerful, right? Because labeling, what it does is not only does it get them to talk more, but it also solidifies what they said, and then they agree with it, right? So it's just like you plant the anchor, and it's just like it's there, and they can't run away from it. So that's why labeling is super powerful, right? So use labeling as like a strategic tool if you want to make them talk more. That's fine, but also to agree with like and just like anchor down like a huge pain point, right? So that's what I would say. Make sense?
Yeah.
Is that the thing that you've been trying to find? It's just there's no opportunity?
Yeah, correct. A lot of the stuff I've been looking at, the ones that don't need experience, they're kind of like 2 hours away from me, and the pay isn't at that level.
Also, is there anything specific about the skull you also want me to? I'm just going to go through it and then give you feedback. But if there's any specific thing you also want me to look out for, let me know.
Sure. Would probably be the reframe or like pre-objection handling. Might have sat there too long. Looking back on it, I think I did it well. And then probably like the latter half of the call, like once we start after the pitch, I think that'd be another spot. And so like the last 30 minutes, I'll just get them onboarded.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So this is pre-handling like kind of in the middle then, you'd say? Pre-handling objection.
It should be
that's
coming
like
up probably, 5 minutes.
So I'll just keep going
because it is like an intro job. It's just not at the level that I think would justify the commute, especially daily. So yeah, I just feel like that certification, as much as I enjoy welding, just really led to nothing in my area.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so it seems like you're trying to find that next thing, and you've been trying to find different jobs with welding. And how long have you been trying to search for that?
Let's see, I completed that in I want to say the winter of 24. So it's kind of been a search since then. And again, there's no new opportunities. I've had some people say that they'll try to get me in and they just haven't followed through. But yeah, I've been looking since then, and I think as of recently I've given up on that. As sad as it is to hear, because I enjoy the welding. It's just as a job path for me right now. I just don't think it's really realistic.
Yeah. Is a part of that frustration not having control over this right now? It just seems like everything's up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I would like security. I would like to know what it is I need to work for, like a kind of like goal oriented, I guess, in a way, like something I can achieve, something tangible. And it's
Yeah.
just with that, it never really seemed that way, because I was just always wondering when something new is gonna pop up near me, or if I'm gonna have to look for something new. And that, yeah, that kind of confusion and not knowing what to do is pretty frustrating.
Absolutely. Because it's like you see the problem, you see the situation you're in, you want to change that, but it's like, man, it's hard, right? That makes a lot of sense. And it seems like you've been in that position for so long now, of searching and trying to find these opportunities. It seems like you're kind of at the point now where it's like, hey, maybe this isn't it. What led you to kind of stop trying on the search or kind of give up in a sense?
For welding specifically, it was, again, just the lack of jobs over here. It just didn't seem like anything was gonna pop up or soon. It didn't seem like it was gonna pop up soon. And
Yeah, I don't know if that discovery question was necessary because you kind of already answered it. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, it's not a bad question to ask, I guess, but like, this would be a great time to just like get deeper. Because he basically where I'm like, let's say there's 3 levels, right? Like of an onion, or like, like if like an iceberg, right? It's like you're right in the top layer and then a little bit of the middle layer, and then you'll go back to the top layer, right? And then you'll ask for like a situation question, and then you'll kind of get a little bit deeper. So you kind of go under the water, it's kind of getting middle, and then you'll just kind of go back to the top. Because every question that you ask resets it, right? Unless you're asking like a super deep question, that's fine. But like, it doesn't make sense. So if you look at an iceberg, the top is kind of where above, right? Below, you're actually getting like you're getting emotional responses. I'm not saying you're not, but like you keep resetting it. Whereas if
Go
you
deeper.
just
Yeah.
you can literally just go to the bottom, right? So I think something that really helped you in discovery is if they're giving you something, don't just like be like, oh, okay, like label the middle, right? Like you can go like super deep on this, right? Like the best,
Yeah.
like you can literally just keep mirroring and labeling until they say like the deepest, darkest thing. And then you label that and you're like, boom, it's like, it's at the bottom and it's not going anywhere, right? So you just kind of like planted that in sense, like, okay, now let me try to find a different iceberg, right? Once you have 3 to 5 icebergs that are all at the deep, like at the deepest layer, like you just kind of solidified it's at the deepest layer. Then going on to like the gap, like it's a lot more powerful, right? Because even here, like if they're saying like, yeah, like I was saying before, it's like you didn't need to ask that question, right? Because like
Right.
you already knew the context. So yeah.
Even he said something that I picked up. He's like, I just feel like I've been giving up on that. And then I picked up on it. I was like, And then I did a completely different question. I should
Yeah.
have just said, you feel like giving up? Like,
Yeah.
tell me more about that. So yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, exactly. So when you get those threads, just keep going down it and make it very subtle, right? So instead of saying like, because every time you ask a question, it puts you in a, not always, but like a salesperson's perspective, right? It's like, okay, look, it's a new thing, right? But when you mirror someone, it's like on the same thread, if that makes sense. Like you don't want to keep starting
Yeah.
a new thread. It's like, so for example, let's say, what did he say that you wanted to mirror? You just said something.
Yeah, he said he was talking about welding and he can't find opportunities and he just felt like giving up. And then I
Yeah,
jumped to a different thing.
yeah, exactly. So it'd be like giving up, right? And instead of saying like, hey, you felt like giving up, tell me more about that. That's a new question, right? Or like half a new question. Literally just basically like you just wanted to almost like make it feel like an organic conversation. And how you do that is you just mirror the last 2 words and don't ask a question, right? Just imagine you just asked one question and then you just went to the iceberg at the bottom, like immediately, without asking any more questions. That's a lot more powerful because you didn't ask a question. It's just him rambling, or not rambling, but like guided, kind of like him talking about the problem, right? So that's why I think
Sure.
mirroring and labeling is so powerful because it's not really a question. It's just like you're just prodding them along, right? And then you're not
Yep.
including yourself into the thing. You're not asking a separate question because every time you ask a question, it reduces your social capital. What I mean by that is like how much you can ask them, right? Because if you just keep asking the questions, it's like you're going out of the way to be like, okay, like I have 100 points of social capital. Every question I ask, it's like reducing a little bit, and you want the most social capital, right? Or like just like kind of like rapport capital to be able to ask the price at the end, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you keep asking him questions that are like almost separate, he has to keep going into it, keep going into it. And he's like, okay, I did a lot of work. What do you give for me now? Right? I did a lot of things for you. What do you have for me? But if you never ask him a question, it's just him. I mean, mirroring is kind of a questioning, but it doesn't feel like a question, right? Then
Yeah, it
it's
is.
just him talking, right? And it's like, hey, I was like, I didn't. He just asked me a couple questions, and like, it really got me to like see the insight. So it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
that there's the exchange, right? If and that's also how you make it subtle. That's how sales will be subtle, because it's just a conversation. You're not even asking a question. It's just like him like talking back and forth, right? So yeah, I think especially in discovery, unless you're doing a perspective change, like shifting thing where it's like he just will not admit it, then you can say things. So literally, like if you were to look at a sales transcript, discovery, like you should be talking like 5 to 10% of the time, and he should be talking like 90% of the time, right? Anything above like 10%, whereas like 20 and 30, you're just talking too much. You don't really need to. Other than labeling and just doing perspective shifting, you don't really need to say or like even before you're like, yeah, okay, so you're doing this, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You don't need to say that. Feel like literally all you have to do is like, right? Just me, just like grunting like that, right? Is actually literally just says the exact same thing, right? So that's what I would say. Like it's more subtle and actually more powerful, right? Because like when you actually said that, like it's not as powerful as if you just like empathized with that, right? Because people can feel, especially if you're looking at the camera and you just feel it, right? It's like, because for you, you're kind of looking away and you're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of like that. Okay. And then you ask the next question. If he said that, I'd be like, yeah, like, and then you just mirrored. You see how much more, like you lean in, you're like, like beat you around, boom, boom, so much more powerful, right? So, and again, these are subtle things, but I think it's just going to supercharge your sales ability, right? Because it's not even part of the script. It's just like almost like your freaking like body language, your ability to empathize, right? It's just like, so, yeah. So let's keep going.
I feel like it's been so long since I have one that I've kind of lost, I've lost some of that skill. Seems unrealistic to me to keep searching for that unless I went back to school for that. But again, school, it's a bit of a gamble, at least where I am. And I don't really feel like doing that right now.
Yeah, man. So if you could go back to school, take a lot of time, take some money, and then hopefully down the line, you're able to get a job. And you and I both know, it seems like you're around my age as well. A lot of guys we know, it's like it takes some time to find that role, and a lot of them aren't even happy with what they end up getting. So it makes a lot of sense where you're coming from right now. And I think like that is a very common pain that we see. A lot of people want control and they want a skill set. Like a part of the welding thing is like, okay, you have a valuable skill set, but then there's a bunch of competition, right? With this, like this is kind of like a newer industry, things are popping up. Like you can gain that valuable skill set, and there's some demand if you're good at what you're doing and if you have skills to be able to stand out. So I get that connection. Is that kind of why you're interested in high ticket sales?
Yeah, I mean, even if just by chance, me seeing the ad first.
So even that, right? Again, same asking. I mean, it's kind of related, but like asking a new question and then having to like, I guess you're starting from the middle, but like, you see how like he would have literally said why he wanted to start high ticket sales if you just kept on like mirroring and just getting there. If that makes sense, right? Instead of like you asking a question for him to trigger that, like I guarantee you, if you just kept on mirroring, he literally would have just like said that anyways, right? And also it doesn't matter. Like of course, like the question of like, is this why you're trying to get in high ticket sales? It's obvious, right? Like he doesn't need to admit that he wants to, like just the fact that he's on the call, of course he wants to get in high ticket sales, right? It's more like what's causing him the problems in his current life and like what's so painful that he had to get on this call is what matters, right? So yeah, so that's what I'd say.
First, before another ad, it was just I felt like I needed to actually do something to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, and just sitting here, wasting away, not doing anything, not looking for anything. I think I felt it was time to at least chase something.
Yeah, step up and take matters to your own hands. And that was going to be something that I was going to ask you about, because it's
like wasting away, right? It's like, oh yeah, step out, and then you ask a new question, right? Whereas he was like, yeah, I feel like it's wasting away. Or you can go, right? Like you just pause for a little bit, and either he talks, but he sits in especially like when they say something emotional, right? And therapists do this amazingly, right? Like if you like a good therapist or coach, like if someone says some shit, they're not like immediately start talking. They're like, oh no, it's gonna be good. It's like, yeah, it's like, or you can be like, yeah, dude, like my dad died recently. Like, oh yeah, so your dad died. It's not like it's like, oh my god,
right,
yeah, right. And then it just lands different, and then you can ask the question, right? Like, but it has to be like a pause, and then you can mirror. So I think you're pausing, your ability to just like nod, right? Because if you can nod and it says the exact same thing and actually more powerful than actually stating words, it saves you time and it's more powerful. It's like literally a double whammy, right? So I think, and that's especially when you can lean into the camera, when you like, once you move your mic away or you figure out a better desk setup, I think that would be super powerful because you're like, yeah, right. You see how like, how emotionally impactful that is, right? So I think that would be really powerful for you, right? So let's,
like, okay,
it gets them to really like sit and think about what they just said too, and their next response is going to be just as deep, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if I just jump in, it's like, okay, cool, let's just keep talking. They don't even see the significance of what they said. So that makes sense.
Especially on B2C offers like that. I mean, even B2B like works game busters, but especially B2C. Like it's like
Mhm.
essentially think about the discovery phase not as like only belief changing, but it's like imagine you're a therapist, I think, especially in the pain
Yeah.
section, because literally just feel like you're a therapist, right? Like if you don't like try to change it, it's just like you're like a good psychoanalysis, like you're like imagine you're Freud or Sigmund Freud, right? Just back in the day, you just like have this like intense if you read like stories about him, like he has this ability to stay intensely present, and like when you're in a room with him, it feels like just like a different experience. You've never seen someone like that,
Mm.
right? You've never seen someone so present, so listening, so caring, right? But it wouldn't be from what he said. It would just literally be from him watching you, right? That is kind of like the powerful, right? So that's where presence and empathy and just like absolute listening ability comes in, right? Because you want people to be like, I've never felt this heard before in my life. If people are saying
Yeah.
that on your calls, you're like, because you didn't say anything. That's the thing. Like, it's literally just how you look at them in the camera and just like how you like feel, right? It like literally like without saying anything will like hit 2x the results, right?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, let's keep going here.
Wow, right. And it's like, okay, there's things out there you can research online. What do you think was stopping you from making a change with the situation, landing a role in this industry, or anything else that you feel like is going to be able to produce what you're looking for?
What I feel was stopping me was just, I think recently I've started to kind of get my mind together. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I was just really confused before, and I think that was taking a toll on my drive. You know, I just kind of felt like, dang, there's really nothing for me. It's gonna be like this. And I was kind of getting in my own head about that. But recently, you know, I've been working to change that, and you know, part of that is actually taking action. You know, think about it. You know, and have all these revelations and then do nothing about it. So
Sure.
it was just time. You know, and again, this was just a matter of chance to come across KCA first. But hey,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely, man. So I'm glad you had that realization. The part of me asking,
Again, like pretty much he's repeating the same thing. Like it's like how that's why I'm getting to Casey. Like he's already repeated like many times why he's like looking for high ticket coaching, right? So
Mhm.
that's what I mean by just like going down deeper into the iceberg, right? Because they only need to say that once. You like it's like okay, I KCA because of this. Okay, cool, right? And then you just keep going. So
this question is kind of seeing what's been holding you back from making these changes, because sometimes there's mindset things that get in the way that if it doesn't get addressed, it's absolutely going to impact you down the line in any career. So you mentioned confusion, right? What were you confused about?
so for example, like that question was really, really long, right? Like if I was to go back, and to be fair, you could have just said you mentioned confusion earlier, right? Like you
Mhm.
can see I just confused, like skipped everything
Yeah.
and then just went to right.
Question
So
is kind of seeing what's been holding you back from making these.
because whenever you go into questioning mode, right, you're like, okay, so like question. You see how it just kind of like interrupts the flow, right? If you're talking
Mhm.
to a friend, you're not like, so anyways, like yeah, like this,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Like, okay, let me ask you another question. Like you don't like state it like that, right? It just kind of like happens organically, right? So that I would say that. So let me go
It was
back.
just time. You know, and again, this was just a matter of chance to come across KCA first. But hey,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely, man. So I'm glad you had that realization. The part of me asking this question is kind of
Like I'm glad you had that realization. Like one, it doesn't feel like you're glad, right? I mean, even if you are, it doesn't like you're. It seems like you're just saying that, and it doesn't even help
Mhm.
in the sales process, right? Like because you're gonna get later on like what like it doesn't really do anything is what I'm saying, right?
Right.
So every time you talk, it doesn't unless it's labeling or perspective shifting, where like you're like, hey, can I give you a perspective on that? Don't talk. Like you
Mhm.
literally don't need to like just go straight to the question. Like people don't get you can literally just ask the question. You don't need any pre-framing
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah.
So
seeing what's been holding you back from making these changes, because sometimes there's mindset things that get in the way that if it doesn't get
you don't need to talk about that either, right? It's just kind of like
Mhm.
obviously
addressed, it's absolutely going to impact you down the line in any career. So you mentioned confusion, right? What were you confused about?
Kind of some like self, like some personal things about what it is I wanted to do for work. Kind of how much money would make me feel comfortable, like where I'm at. Just kind of more so like relating to this work related things that I was confused about. Just kind of what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it.
Yeah. Why do you think that confusion over just figuring out some of those things held you back for so long?
you could have mirrored that, right? And then I would have leaned in. It's like
Mhm.
right, because basically what you did is like you leaned back and you kind of like swiveled in your chair and looked around, like thinking about the question, right? So I was thinking here, I'll just go back real quick. Kind of
Like relating to this work related things that I was confused about. Just kind of what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it.
Yeah. Why do you think that confusion over just figuring out some of those things held you back for so long?
scrolled in your chair or looked away, and then you asked a long question.
Mhm.
Whereas you could have just like, you literally just could have leaned in, be like, and then just mirrored it, like just like 2 words, and
Yeah.
you would have kept going, right?
Because I feel like I personally like to take action on something I have set, something I'm sure about. Not being sure about anything, it's like, dang, now I don't want to do anything.
And instead of saying yeah or like got it, I would just like or yeah, or just silence, right? Like, because silence is a lot more, because when you say yeah, it's very subconscious, but like it kind of interrupts, like they're thinking about what you said, right, subconsciously, right? So it kind of interrupts their ability to go like super deep.
Mhm.
So just like literally don't talk, or because it doesn't really like affect.
Anything, because I want to make sure what I'm doing is actually going to benefit me. And so in my time of confusion, I was just like, man, I don't want to do anything because I just don't know. And I want.
And whenever they're saying something, like don't smile, especially in the pain. Like I know it sounds kind of weird, but like just don't smile during the pain part. It's like because like even there, you like not even you smile, right? So I don't know
Yeah.
if you caught that, but like just
Because I want to make sure what I'm doing is actually going to benefit me.
right there, right? So like obviously it's a recognition, but essentially just thinking about, again, therapist, right? Like they're not smiling, oh, okay, you're struggling, like,
Right.
like, you're just like, yeah. So
And so in my time of confusion, I was just like, man, I don't want to do anything because I just don't know. And I want to get out of that.
Awesome. So that's really good. I think that's kind of the belief change, right? And how long do you think you were?
yeah, and same thing. Like you said awesome, and then yeah, so that's really good. You like said it's really good. Like don't say anything he's saying is really good during the pain part, because it's not really good. It's really bad actually. Everything that's happening is really
Right.
bad. So every time you say, okay, yeah, nice job for doing that, it's like, oh, it's really good. Basically, it's like I'm really painful. It's like, oh, okay, it's not as bad. It's like, oh, I'm really painful. Oh, it's not as bad as that. Like this part should be like literally like obviously, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but like should be very painful. Like they should be very
Yeah.
uncomfortable talking about this stuff. But since you're so caring and empathizing, they're willing to open up, right? And then they
Mhm.
you just want them to let loose, right? Again, like you're a therapist, like they just like tell you all their dark secrets, right? And then they don't even realize what happened, right? They're like, oh shit, how did I do that? Like, how did it even get here, right? Like
Yeah.
it's very subtle, right? Because if you just mirror and just like don't say anything, they will tell you everything. Especially if you're just like looking at the camera, really empathizing, not even saying anything, right? So
Allowing that confusion to prevent you from taking action. Like how long was that going on for?
I want to say maybe since 2023, I believe.
So a while.
Yeah. I had a better job before then, which I left to go back to
that was good. Like so for a while, like you can say things like that.
school, which
But
was a mistake in my opinion. So then that left me really confused, and I was just doing like Grubhub delivery for a long time. That was just it was making enough money to pay my bills.
again, it's a same. Like I'm not trying to like beat a dead horse here, but it's like basically when it's like, yeah, Grubhub delivery, what is that? It's a situation. It's not, if you remember the spin selling, right? Right now he's
Yeah.
like going from problem to situation, problem to situation, problem to situation. Whereas you want to stay in implication. Like that's actually where most of the sales, right? So it's like to ask a question, it's like a confusion. How long has it been going? You went back to situation, right? Because situation of uncertainty is like, yeah, it's been happening for a couple of years. That's what like the
Mhm.
situation. That's not actually the implication of the problem, right? The implication of the
Right.
problem is like you maybe can't feel his family. He hates his life. It's like this could destroy everything, right? He wants to get out, right? So that's the actual implication, right? Or if this goes on for 5 years, he's screwed, right? So yeah,
Let me live
Mhm.
comfortably. So I guess I was just getting content, happy being at the place I was, and then I started self-reflecting. I was like, dang, I'm not really happy. I'm just kind of living and letting life beat me around, and I think it's it's my turn to take control.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Not a lot of people have those realizations or honest with themselves like that. And the reason is it kind of sucks. It's like, man, I've been kind of making a mistake, right? The confusion and saying, okay, because I'm confused, I'm not going to take action. That's coming from a part of you that is trying to
again, you're going to coaching mode. This can be at the
Yeah.
end of the call if you need to, but again, you're talking, right?
protect you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's allowing the pain to continue.
Yep.
So what you ended up doing was awesome because it was like, okay, despite that confusion, I got to figure it out. I got to move because that's the only way things are going to change. Right? So I commend you for having that conversation with yourself. Not a lot of people do.
I commend you. It's like, don't commend. Like you literally everything, even if you are giving a perspective, just say the perspective. Don't like solve the pain. If that makes sense, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Because I was trying to
just
do
to really
the
like look at
identity shift and get him to believe that he's on the call now. He wants to change. If he was confused, maybe he wouldn't be. So trying to get him to like hold himself to a different standard than he was in the past. Because in the past he'd let confusion prevent him from taking action.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or but you don't need to give him perspective shift right now necessarily. It'd be like you can be like, uh, or like let's say he gets really like once they're like at the bottom of the iceberg, it's really easy to perspective shift because they're in so much pain, right? And then
Yeah.
the only thing you need to say to perspective shift is like, I guess I know what's the guy Eli's like, hey, I guess Eli, like, do you feel like this confusion and this happening for past like 3 whatever years, like, you feel like that's what's held you back from actually
Mm.
getting the results, right? And then boom, I literally like I said everything you probably said, and it kind of cuts straight to the layer. And it's so
Yeah.
like, and you see how I'm like curious, like I'm not actually like say because when you definitively say something, right? They can agree or they can just nod their head and not agree, right? Because sometimes when you give a perspective, like it's like, does that make sense? Like, yeah, 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 yeah. Or like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's actually not their idea, right? And it's also not 100%. But when I ask
Right.
like it curious, I'm not even like pushing anything. I'm like, do you feel like maybe that thing is what's held you back for the past 3 years? Pause. And they're like, yeah. Hmm. Boom. I didn't
Yeah.
say anything,
I can
right?
see. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah. So like with you basically save not only does it save you time, right? Because you just get straight to the issue, it's actually more powerful, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So once we get to the bottom of the iceberg, it becomes obvious what mindset shift needs to happen. And so I don't need to probe and lean into it and try to find it myself. It's just obvious through the pain and mirroring label.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
About the real reason why you've been in this position. Do you think the results you've been getting up until this point have been due to that mindset of how you've approached that confusion and kind of not knowing what to do?
I think so because what I am getting now is kind of just not enough.
See, like, I mean, to be fair, you asked the question, so like, he kind of did what I just said, but like, you see, it's like, I think so. Like, he's not. It's your idea, and he's 50% on that idea,
Yeah.
right? That's the problem. That's the only problem with kind of the situation because you are kind of going implication, kind of with the problem, I guess. But it's your idea still, right? And also,
Right.
you're using social capital, using the capital that you gained at the beginning of the call for him just showing up here on uh, a question that doesn't serve you as much as if he just told you. It's kind of what I'm
Hmm.
saying. You know what I mean? So
Enough money to really live. It's just enough to get by. And I do think that that barrier of letting myself just sit there in confusion and not really take matters into my own hands definitely put a real hindrance on what it is I was earning, how I felt about myself, and just stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were mentioning frustration earlier on the call, right? A part of that frustration was not having control over the outcomes, right? So now it's like, okay, I'm going to take that control and move despite any internal resistance because that's how things are going to change.
Mm.
So let me ask you this, man. What beliefs or like maybe mindset shift would need to change for you to start getting better results and making the money that you want to make?
like again, you don't need to ask that question because he's already told you. And like for example, like right now the entire thing, I mean to be fair, like you want to I see what you're doing because you just want him to finally agree to like the confusion is stopping him.
Yeah.
But he would have agreed to it in like a minute, probably. If you just
Sure.
mirrored, and be like, boom. Like literally that's all you needed to do. Just like in the beginning when he said that the confusion. Oh, okay. And then you just mirror, right? It's like it sounds like this and this and this. Pause. It's like, yeah, hmm, boom, done. And then you can just move to the next iceberg. You know what I mean? And so that would have taken like 2 to 3 minutes and actually would have been deeper because you didn't say anything, right? Because right
Right.
now you're just kind of like forcing the pump. Forcing the pump only makes sense is it just is not working through question. Like, and just like, all right, I'm just gonna give a perspective shift and just like freaking get him to admit it. But it's not ideal, if that makes sense. Because he's
Sure.
kind of already admitted the confusion and control. I know, but at that point, like you can just do it later. Like you just kind of because right now he's just like just repeating what he's saying again and again, right?
Hmm.
So like sometimes if you just can't get it, you can give a quick perspective shift. If that doesn't work, just move on to something. You can always refer back to this, right? Because
Yeah.
then he won't feel like you're pushing. It's just kind of like more of a subtle, like he'll forget that he even mentioned the confusion, right? So then you can ask it again. It won't like be taken because right now you're just diminishing
Right.
your social capital, right?
Hmm.
So but let's keep going.
I think first of all it was just
And also, I'm sorry, I'm like, I know it's only 14 minutes into the call. I'm giving you all these like subtle things. So let me know if you're like, dude, no, I just want to fucking get to the the part. But
No,
like
you're
these
good.
are
This
like,
is
yeah,
this is good.
yeah. But these are like such subtle but like really powerful things that like if you just add it on, like you'd be fucking like killer, bro. Because
Yeah.
you are already really good. You have a great foundation. So, but let's keep going.
taking action despite despite not knowing the outcome to a T, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. I should still be able to try to move forward. Another thing was, I've been reading, the Bible a lot more, and God talks about, lazy people, how they don't have a place in His kingdom. That really affected me, because I was like, dang, I can be this good person, I can do all that I need to, but if I'm lazy, I'm not putting in the work and improving myself and those around me, my community, hey, I'm not really living for Him. So religion has definitely been a helping hand in trying to, fix my mindset in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because down the line, you're going to be a leader of your household, right?
Yeah.
And again, like just you talking, right? I would have just been like,
Yeah.
lazy, right? Because that was like another thing, right? Like again, if he literally gave you another thing that you can just tie back to the confusion, So if you can't solve the
Yeah.
confusion, you can just label something else and tie it back to the confusion, right? So
And that needs to be there. And the beautiful thing about this is you're in that preparing season to be up until that point. So you're able to make these mistakes. You mentioned since 2023, like the mistakes have been going on, but now you're making those changes. So being able to move, despite what you're feeling internally, is not only going to be something that's going to help you make changes within your professional life and in purpose, but it's also going to be able to help you move as a leader, right? So I think it's a really cool thing to see. Cool, man. And
it's not a really, or I mean, I guess it's a really cool thing to see, but like you don't need to, like you should say, it's a really cool thing to say in the desired situation, right? Because that was kind of like literally like his goal, like kind of like being a leader is like, this is like the pain section, if that makes sense, right?
Sure.
So, because if you just do pain and then desired and pain and desired, it kind of, it doesn't do the desired. Like in spin selling, it's not like implication, need, payoff. Implication, need is like implication and then need, payoff, right? So, yeah, let's give them.
what would happen?
Yeah,
if you were
see, I'm
continue
trying to
allow that
accomplish the
confusion?
same thing that you're able to do with the mirroring, but because it's through a bunch of questions, it's so indirect.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I guess all the calls. Like I sat here for pretty long. So I think that's why. It's like I can get them to that point and I can get them there, but it takes so long. And it's not gonna diminishes some of that social capital, like you said. And it can be done in 5 minutes max with
Yeah.
just mirroring, even
Yeah.
sooner than that. So that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So
Confusion or kind of the uncertainty kind of dictate your actions. What would you see yourself in a year, 2 years down the line?
Right. I'd see myself just living here. I'm living with my grandma currently, so I'd see myself just being here. So which I don't see as a bad thing, in of itself. But I have a girlfriend, and we talk about our future together. And I think just if I didn't do this, I would be able to actually get on with that. I wouldn't feel prepared for that, and I wouldn't want to, because for my family that I want to create, I want to have that financial security. And yeah, so if I didn't do that, I wouldn't reach that goal of creating a family and a household that I want. So, but yeah, I had to do something.
Yeah, it's a great answer, man. So you know what you want, and if you don't make those changes, you're not going to be able to get what you want, right?
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. So I think a great thing to get clear on, I guess, right now is because we understand why you're in this position right now. It's not because you couldn't land a job or anything like that, or you don't have a skill set. It was because you didn't move with full clarity, or you didn't let yourself move without that. But we'll never get it, right? So you let that fear get to you. Now, I think it's pretty important to paint the picture of where you could be if you don't let that get in the way anymore, right? So, like, kind of last question for me to kind of clear up where you're at right now, so we can then kind of explore where you want to be. What are you making at the moment right now? Like, what does that look like?
you kind of asked to where you kind of want to be question, if I was to say, like right here, so it's kind of weird that you like then transition to also where you want to be.
I would
Like
be able to actually get on with that. I wouldn't feel
It was like
prepared for that. I wouldn't want to,
a part of the
because
script where it was like they wanted me to get like where they're at financially before I move on to where they want to be, and I didn't do that. So that's kind of why I was like, oh, I gotta circle back.
Okay. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
for my family that I want to create, I want to have that financial security. And yeah, so if I didn't do that, I wouldn't reach that goal of creating a family and a household that I want. So, but yeah, I had to do something.
Yeah, it's a great answer, man. So you know what you want, and if you don't make those changes, you're not going to be able to get what you want, right? That makes a lot of sense. So I think a great thing to get clear on, I guess, right now is because we understand why you're in this position right now. It's not because you couldn't land a job or anything like that, or you don't have a skill set. It was because you didn't move with full clarity, or you didn't let yourself move without that. We'll never get it, right? So you let that fear get to you. Now, I think it's pretty important to paint the picture of where you could be if you don't let that get in the way anymore, right? So, like, kind of last question for me to kind of clear up where you're at right now, so we can then kind of explore where you want to be. What are you making at the moment right now? Like, what does that look like?
Anywhere from like $250 a week to $350 a week. I'm part-time, some hours, do shift anywhere from 30 to 22, and paid weekly. So yeah, it's sometimes.
You mentioned part-time, so you might make 200 a week, 350 a week. Okay, cool. And where would you like to be? You just mentioned that you want to be able to be that leader of the household. You have a girlfriend.
Like you didn't even need to say that. Like just like got it. No.
Right now, it seems like you have a vision for a family down the line. You want that. God wants that for you. I know you've been exploring that kind of vision for yourself. What do you want that to look like financially to be able to support all those people?
See, that's something I think I need to look into a little bit. Actual legitimate cost of living in that lifestyle, what it would actually cost. But I know my father was able to make it with stay-at-home wife and 3 kids on about $3 to $4 grand a month. I mean, of course, costs have only risen, so maybe let's push that to $5 grand a month. I would say is kind of where I want to be in order to prepare for that, because I have a couple debts that I also really want to save.
That makes sense. So let's paint that picture a little bit more. So it seems like 5, you'd be like, okay, I can start to build a little bit more. And you don't need to know exactly to move forward, right? Like what exactly your goals are going to be. What is like a goal range? Is 5 the low end, the high end? Where do you think you'd want to be?
So like it's hard to say, like when you ask questions like, hey, where do you want to be? Most people don't know where they want to be. And also the fact that they're coming with you on this call that all of these limiting beliefs, at least I found, like, when I train people, it's just like, you have to like keep pumping the guys like, okay, It's like, okay, well, like, but even if that wasn't the case, what would you want? All right. It's like if you just started at the beginning, be like, hey man, like I know we talked about a lot of the problems, limiting beliefs, right? But assume that is not there, right? If you could snap your fingers and get the dream life that you wanted, right? What would that be? And just the seriousness of that question, I'm not asking like, oh, like how much would it take to like, do this and like 5K a month? It's like there's like everything aside, like put all the limiting beliefs and maybe your past aside. Imagine the version of yourself, the best version of yourself. You could snap your fingers and get the dream result, right? I'm saying dream, right? And even like the way I'm phrasing it is also telling me I don't want them to just tell me I want to make 5K a month. I want them to tell me I want to retire my family. I want to build generational wealth. I want to invest in real estate. I want to be a man of the household, right? Right. You can even say dream life, not only financially, but what are we creating here together? Boom. You see how that's just like then because sometimes people just like kind of loop on like, and then you're like, but like, dude, like think higher. Like, what would that actually look like? And they're like, maybe 10K, but I've never thought about this before. But when you say push everything aside, snap your fingers, and I say it with seriousness, I'm like, tell me what would that look like, right? I didn't say like yeah, can you describe? Like I'm just like ordering them to think about it. I'm not letting them like right. They'll answer usually, even if they're uncomfortable. It's, dude, I don't know, but like honestly, it'd be really cool if I could snap my fingers, bro. Usually they'll say that a lot, right? Or sometimes I like asking the genie question. I like invented that where it's like, hey, like if there's a genie, like rub in the blue genie pops out and you get a wish. What would that look like? Because it's like mystical and like it kind of matches my personality, but it's like a mystical and magical, like we're in different realm. It's not like just a tactical question. This is like a dream and like a magical question, right? Or if you had a magic wand, right? If it's not like too cringy for you, and you just like saying it, right? It's kind of a little joke. You can like build a rapport, kind of ease some tension, and then get them to think in a magical world. Like you basically just in this question, you're just trying to transport them into like a different realm, right? You're not trying to ask like, oh, you want to make 10K per month, awesome. Like it's not like a tactical question. Actually, it's more like for them to vision, right? So that just like the way you
Get them to
frame the
think.
question.
Get them to think based off of who they want to be, not versus where they're at in the moment.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
get them like most of them will shoot low because they're thinking about where they're at the moment.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Right. So that's why you say magic, right? Because magic doesn't depend on them, right? It's an external, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not like who I am before. And they can visualize, right? So, because I have a feeling that you might just go, because you just literally have to go back and forth probably. So let's see.
I think 5 would be kind of like middle to lower ground of where I want to end up. Because of course, obviously life isn't about money, but having money is definitely a need in our current lives. So I think, maybe 10 grand a month would 10 to 15 around that range would be something I would be more looking into trying to achieve.
Sure. So like that'd be kind of more your motivation. And what about that specifically? Like why 10 to 15 is attractive for you?
Because I'm thinking like right now I'm thinking kind of in terms of yearly, like the yearly net pay of at least being over 100,000. Because I don't know how true they are, but you kind of just see everywhere like price range to livability, like graphs almost kind of saying like, oh, single or like parents with a stay-at-home mom, one kid needs to raise X amount of money. And I've seen kind of graphs like that. And it's always like the amount of kids that I want, the family that I want is always above 100,000. So kind of getting that yearly amount would be, it looks good to me.
Yeah. How many kids do you want?
3, I would like.
Yeah. There you go. Nice, man. So yeah, you've been thinking a lot about this. I think that's really cool. And getting clarity on your reasons for why is very important. And I'll be honest with you, like I get on these calls with guys and they're like, man, I want XYZ amount of income because I want a nice watch and a car. So like that's not gonna get you. Like you're gonna attain those things and then you're gonna start to fail. That's a good motivation. Like that's gonna keep you motivated from good, clean energy. And when you achieve that, like you're not gonna shy away from that or ruin everything. So that's a great reason and definitely in line with the people that are in the group. But cool, man. So I'm trying to kind of get clarity on kind of
Like you like it's cool to like give them a compliment, but that didn't really do anything. Right. It didn't like it didn't I mean I guess it did feel like you kind of felt like that, but you could have been like amazing, man. And then you just moved on. You would have said literally you would have done the exact same thing without you having to like ramble, right? Because the more you ramble, the more it takes him away from his vision. Because he wants to be basically you're just trying to transport him into like an alternate universe. But then when you say that, it breaks the illusion, right? It's like it just snaps him out of the dream, right? You just want him, and also like he didn't really say that much actually. Like he's like 3 kids, and I just want to sustain my like. It's not, it's not really like a dream reality, I would say, right? Because what he can do is like save up money, get skill in sales, right? Have time, right? Like with this, like be able to travel the world, be able to make money, and it's pure like straight cash. There's no, like he has the ability to move to a place that's cheaper. He can like spend more time with his kids, spending more time with his kids. Maybe they develop and they get to grow and they make more money than him. Like there's so much to unpack there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just want him to, in a dream world, just say that, right? And he will. If he's
Mhm.
dreaming, it just comes out, right? So
where you are now, where you want to be. It seems like you've been doing a lot of reflection on your own, man, which I really commend you for. So what's been stopping you from getting to that point where you're making 10, 15 month, over 100K net at the end of the year?
like he didn't really say, like, his dream situation is not really that solidified, if that makes sense, right? And I know you float the call, so obviously, dude, I'm saying like you're doing a good job, but I'm just saying like that
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
really,
these,
yeah.
yeah,
So
it's good feedback.
On your own.
Again, I think it was just, I think I lost my drive there for a couple of years, and I was just getting really bummed out by myself, and at the same time, just kind of content with how my life was going. Just messing around, hanging out with friends all the time, and not really wanting to put in the work. I think I was really content with that. And as much as I do like being able to do that stuff, I think it is time that I actually focus on myself and try to work to make myself better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think, you're going through that transition period, right?
Yeah.
The major
I would have said like content. You said content?
Yep.
Because that was like the key thing that was actually holding him back. And that's also the objection. He's like, I'm content, I'm scared to, right? And it actually goes back to the confusion. Confusion and content are like what's holding him back, right? So
major distinction between where you were in the past to where you're trying to get to, the thing that's going to allow you to make those changes is seeing your future and making decisions based off of the person who you want to become. And it's changed, right? You have a girlfriend now, you want a family. Okay, if I want to be able to support them in the future, I need to make decisions like that guy right now, right? So it's changing the way you make those decisions and align that to who you want to be versus who you already are right now. Because for a while, right, for 2-3 years, you were making decisions based off of where you already at, right? And what happened?
Got stuck.
Mhm.
Or at least
And felt stuck. You felt frustrated. You didn't feel that sense of control. You mentioned you started to kind of feel like bummed out about yourself too, right?
Yeah.
Did you start to see yourself a little bit differently based off of your results or the way you're handling the situation?
yeah, I was just like, dang, you're really just gonna let anything happen. I was like, that's kind of minded. Like, it was more like those kind of insults to myself, or more like harshful truth, I guess. I was starting to really dump those on myself. And I think at first it was a bit unhealthy because I do think realizations like that are important and being honest with yourself. But I think I was coming on too strong at the start, and it was really just kind of pushing me further down. It was like, dang, you're right, I am nothing, and I'm gonna say. And that took some time to kind of get over and find a healthy balance of being real, but also not beating myself up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I understand where you're coming from on that. Yeah, and so that was going on for a long time. You started to have those difficult conversations with yourself. You started to realize that, the comfort started to get to you a little bit. The uncertainty was kind of making these decisions. But the main distinction between all of that and the way you work at yourself versus what it seems like right now is that you're starting to make decisions based off of where you want to be. And that's the thing that's got you on this call and starting to shoot a little bit higher. Like, okay, I'll make 10, I'll make 15. I want to be able to do that. I want to support my family. So I think that's the major distinction. You're holding yourself to a higher standard. And if anything, like, you kind of change your identity a little bit and you're more aligned with where you want to be in the future. And that's how you get there. You don't focus on behavior to make change. You got to focus on your beliefs and the way that you carry yourself. You see what I'm saying with that? Absolutely. So cool, man. I guess like the final question, just to kind of see if we can really help, because I think we can based off this conversation, but there is going to be some.
instead of saying, and also, by the way, like, another question or final question, just ask the question, because then it just gets him out of the dream reality, right? It's like, okay, no, we're back. Let me ask you another question. It's like, just go straight into the question, right? Because you want it to be like a dialogue. If you just keep asking questions, it feels like a sales interaction. You know what I mean? So, but
resistance and challenges you face along the way. And I think these beliefs that we've been talking about on the call might be something that kind of challenges you. So are you willing to hold yourself to that higher standard, despite maybe, the uncertainty or fear or challenges that get in the way down the line? Are you willing to make decisions and move based off the person who you want to be versus off the person you are right now?
Yes, yeah. I'm if I'm not fully committed, I'm trying to convince myself to be fully committed because it is something that I realize I need. Even though I do want it, it's something I need. Like, I need that structure. I need to be able to be disciplined in whatever practice it might be. Putting my full 100% into it until God forbid, it actually isn't what's for me. And then I'll make a decision at that time. But anything I'm trying, I want to be able to commit fully to.
And if you start holding yourself to that higher standard to make decisions like the person you want to become, what do you think is going to happen to your results?
Not only might I actually start making the amount of money.
okay, so like pre-handling objection. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I also think it'll reassure me that is what I need. Because there is of course a bit of worry. Like, dang, I might fully commit myself. It might not turn out. But if it does, I'm gonna be more willing to commit to other things. I think overall it would be a positive change for my mentality and my life overall.
Interesting. So you're saying if you face any worry, you still got to move forward in the vision and direction you have.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. You kind of like label it. It's like, interesting, and then you just kind of would sit back on him, and he agreed. So that's good.
Good. So I think that's awesome, man. And again, I've been on calls like this many times, and I've seen people grasp onto those beliefs or fear or worry and trust in it. And that's the thing that's keeping them with the results that they don't want. But you are completely willing to be coachable and change your mindset and start to hold yourself to that higher standard. And I think that's awesome, man. And that's a whole part of this process. Like, God is really building you up, not just to have a better job and make more money. That's not it. He's building you up to become that person that you're starting to vision yourself for. And I think you see that. And I think for those reasons, man, I think you are a great fit for what we're doing inside the community. Your motivations are pure. You're doing this for the right reasons, and you're willing to face fear and challenge and uncertainty and have difficult conversations with yourself and make changes because you know where you want to be in the end. So I think for all those reasons, man, you're not only going to be able to be a good fit, but I think like I think the income goals that you even mentioned with the 5, like if you can get to that point, you're feeling good about it, starting to build it. That's a complete entry level position. 5 to 8K a month, right? The 10 to 15, that might be something that you can build up to. It's probably not going to be what you come into right away, but through the training and just being able to get roles and maybe have a role that's a little bit lower on the totem pole, you'll be ready for that position in due time. So yeah, man, I think you have the character for it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So cool, man. Like, if you're interested in
I like the fact that, like, this is why you'd be a good fit. That's actually really good language. I would say, like, find a reason that's more personal to him, right? That like when you would say he's a good fit, you want it to be pretty reasonable, if that makes sense. Because like what you basically said, like, applies to pretty much anyone. It's like, hey, you're willing, like, you're on this call for, like, you want change, and you're a person with high integrity, right? Most of the people that you're gonna let in the program are, it would be like something like, yeah, man, I wasn't quite sure at the beginning of this call. I just really wanted to see, but when you mentioned that about your family. And when you mentioned that you're not like those other people and you actually just do want to change, right? Because we can't help people who don't want to change, right? Like, mindset's a big portion. And it's just like, it just gets us bad results and it's annoying for our coaches, right? And actually ruins the community vibe. Does that make sense, Eli? Right? So just to be respectful, it's not a money grab, like just be respectful for our students. We need to make sure that we have the right people. Because the 5 people you hang around with are what, right? You see, that's actually very reasonable, right? It makes sense why, and then like, you're not like that kind of person. You're willing to take action, even if you're confused before, you want to be your, the best version of yourself and you want to identify with that, right, Eli? Yeah. It's like, so dude, like, yeah, I mean, I think Trey would be like totally fine with having you in, man. Like, this is like, I wasn't sure at the beginning, but like, dude, like, you're fucking killer, bro. You see how that's a lot more like, oh shit, like he chose me. And it's not like he chose,
Yeah.
I'm not choosing him for some like stupid reason. Like, like, I'm not saying your reason's stupid, but it's not like, yeah, you want to commit to change. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like surface level. Like, you can just reference something he said in the call, or he references integrity by like a specific thing to show that you actually listen, right? Then it gets really powerful when they're like, oh shit, it's like a real,
Yeah.
right? Like, instead of like, let's say you have a girlfriend and you're like, hey, like you're really awesome. I really appreciate you. It's like, that's good. But if you say like, that one time that you woke up early and got me that donut and you're just tired and you just didn't have the time to do it, that really, I really appreciate that. Like, that made me really think better about you and like better about this relationship. You see how that's way more powerful? I was like, hey, I just really appreciate you. Like, anyone can say I really appreciate you, but like when I call back to a specific thing, go deeper and then really empathize, right? Like, really pause. I'm like almost like thinking, right? Like, as I'm saying it, so it just seems so authentic. It doesn't seem like a script. That's when it gets really powerful, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Took a whole bunch of notes. This is really
Yeah,
good.
of
And
course, bro.
I'm seeing there's a lot of bad habits with framing questions, and I think that came from trying to connect with people on the last offer and maybe trying to do that. I should have mirrored and labeled and done everything we've talked about, but my way of doing it was to try to connect by saying something to them and then asking a question, but it just keeps interrupting the conversation. So I'm seeing this a lot. Um, yeah, and the reframe took too long. I watched it back this first time. Started around 9 minutes, ended around 27 minutes.
Yeah,
Too long.
yeah.
So the mirror and labeling is going to have to be used a lot more, along with using pauses.
Mm,
Just be more direct in general. So I'm gonna rewatch this multiple times because this
yeah,
is
amazing, dude.
a lot of the bad habits coming up.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious to see here. Let me go through. I know I'll keep pausing, but let me try to get through this. I have like 5-ish minutes left, so I'm just gonna keep. Give me one sec.
Totally fine for now. I can kind of show my
Sure.
screen a little bit and show you basically how we can help you inside the community with KCA and then kind of answer your questions and go from there. But would you be interested in that?
Absolutely.
So as I'm getting spoiled, I'm just going to sign into the community real quick. It is a 90-day structured program. You'll be getting access to community. You'll be getting access to coaching calls. And you'll have your own head coach in there that you can contact. Let me share my screen real quick. And I'll show you all this. I was actually going through one of the trainings myself here. So you've seen some of the trainings, right? You've kind of gone through all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll show you a little bit more about.
Is this part of like the pitch process that they recommend you do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I won't give too much
It's
feedback.
not structured. I'm just kind of going. So it's something that I'll probably have to get reviewed with them, which I haven't yet. But
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, but they want you to go like share your screen and like just go straight to
Yeah.
features and stuff. Okay. Then that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I won't say anything on that, but I'll
About
just
the
go
process
there.
that you'll be walking through based off of your situation as well as the support that you'll be receiving to help you get to where you want. So first things first, we're going to be teaching you sales 101. And sales is more of being like a psychologist in a sense, right? Being able to understand what makes people tick, what beliefs are there, if there's any limiting beliefs, talk about that. But this is one of these trainings that's really going to help you understand the concept of sales. And if you're an ethical salesman, like the way that we teach it, you're not only going to be setting people up to get products and things that are really going to help and serve them, but you're also going to be able to help them overcome the challenges down the line, right? And I think that's a really cool part of this process. So we'll be teaching you the fundamentals. And I think maybe the first thing I want you to watch will be the standard crash course. You mentioned if you can make like 5K, like that's the lower end of the spectrum, you'd be pretty happy. You can be able to start to build and feel more confident in yourself that you're getting to where you want to go. And I'll show you the roles inside the community in a second, like the job boards that we've had with companies that reached out to us. But that is more than attainable after you gain these skills and we get you in the process. So we'll teach you the setting, the DM. We'll also teach you sales to be closer down the line. If you want to get to the point where you are making 10, 50K a month, these are the skill sets that will help you get there. We'll coach you, obviously through the course, but you're also going to be getting access to group calls as well 3 times a week. So this is one of the group calls. And what we do, let's see, oh, it's a Zoom link. This is an actual recording. So like this is a group call, and you'll be able to dive in there and get like personalized coaching. You'll get calls reviewed, you get questions answered, excuse me. And the cool thing is there's people at different levels. Right? There's people with sales experience in here that are getting coached as soon as they landed their role, and there's going to be people in here who just got started in learning sales for the first time. So if you're just like even just sat back in the community and watched someone who's gone down the training, been able to apply, and also landed a role, now they're using all of it, you're going to learn so much just by that. So it's really cool what we have inside the community there. I'm getting a lot of coaching from this process to really make sure you are truly ready for the roles that we have for you. And I also want to show you a little bit about some of these roles. So the first one, this is a finance offer. I don't think you're going to be able to get this one off rip, but I do think down the line you'll be able to get something like this with the skill sets you'll be developing. So for example, requirements for this offer is 2 years of high ticket closing over 5K of an offer, right? And what you'll be able to make is expected. Like you're expected to get this anywhere between 20K to 30K a month, right? You'll get warm pre-qualified leads.
Okay.
This is the high end of what you'll be able to do with the skill set that you're developing with sales. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then right below it, it's kind of funny. I actually know the founder and the co-founder of this offer. Like this is a remote closing role. You'll be able to make conservatively like 5K your first month with that. You'll already be getting calls with people who've been inside an offer and want even more help, right? So this is going to be like career coaching for people who want to play soccer professionally in some extent. There's different roles for all this, and just keep scrolling through. Like we have a ton, and all these companies reach out to us, and they love hiring people from this because like you're vetted. Because our reputation's on the line. Like we want to make sure you have the skills before you land these roles, and also you've invested into yourself with time and finances. So it's like, man, this guy wants to get good. If we can just coach him and get him in a good position, like this guy's getting.
So honestly, this is probably the best part of the pitch, if I was to say. Like it's just like social proof and like, hey, they can get like immediate results, right? So it'd be like, hey man, like one of the biggest things that instead of just like going straight into the program, like the features is fine, like, but it like something I'd be very like, hey, reason we started this program is we really want to help. I don't know what the tagline, I guess, like mission statement, like let's say a Christian man who at home like every time like go back and do sales like at home, like you know the offer a little bit better. That's our mission, right? And how we do that is in 3 ways, and this is how you're going to get results very quick. It's like one, we give you everything you need to do, right? And you know, and you can share your screen, but it's like every training on every single thing, like world class on especially how we've closed millions of dollars in sales, right? So you can do something very similar to the companies, but even better, and this is actually the key, right? A lot of people, this is different from many programs, like they just teach you the sales, right? But we literally have opportunities in the thing, right? So let me go to you, like I did this and this and there's this and this and like how would it be cool to like once you get trained, just literally be on offer? Is that valuable to you? It's like, yeah, dude, absolutely. It's like, yeah, what was that? It's like, yeah, I mean, dude, like the hardest part is getting a job. So if you have opportunity, I've never been in this industry before. So if I can just get on offer, like, oh yeah, awesome, man. And let me keep going, right? So like, it was a very quick thing. I gave social proof. I said like, I pretty much said what you said like in like 10 seconds. But then I just went straight to the thing that's actually like, oh shit, like this is nice, right?
Yeah. What they want.
Yeah, the differentiation.
Gonna kill it. You know, if they go on Indeed and hire someone off of that, there's no real way to vet them. Like they're kind of taking a risk. So they love to get people who have been in communities and now are trained. So there's many different positions as well. Again, high end, low end. We'll be able to have like some setting roles in here, which I think for you will help you get to your goals. And obviously you can build off of that. So let me show you some wins as well. Actually, it's a pretty cool one. Today, this guy just got a high ticket closing role where he's going to be getting a 4K base commission, and then he's also going to be able to make around.
Oh yeah, wins is great actually. So
8K as he starts to get commission. So really cool. Just posted his pay stub today, which I think is awesome. Just kind of encouraging some guys. Let me go through this a little bit more. A lot of people reaching out. Let's see, got a role, right? Kind of just going over his offer right now. He's expecting making between 6 to 12K a month with a 3K base, right? 3 weeks paid vacation. Like so, you're gonna have some amazing opportunities in different. That people reach out to see if we can fill for them.
Ballpark last year, it was.
All that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect sense.
What are your thoughts on all that?
I think that was really something that drove me to you guys because I tried something not too similar, but kind of in the same ballpark last year. It was insurance sales. But the real problem I had with that, the thing I think wasn't a fit for me was the cold calls. Calling people that don't already want it. And for some reason, I just really I couldn't get into it. I don't know if it's like for rejection or whatever. There's Mar and Trey, like the pre-screen videos or whatever. That was something I really liked because there's so much I struggled with before in sales specifically. So
awesome, man.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear, man. So just based off of the process that you've already been learning on videos, that you have to call on the call, me explaining you all this stuff. How do you feel about the process, the support you'll be receiving? Do you believe you can reach the 5K, 10K, 15K benchmarks based off of what we're showing you here?
Yeah, I do because as much as I can hold myself accountable, it is nice to have that community that can also hold me accountable. And I think that's a great part of the mental shift and all that.
Sure. And do you believe that you're able to accomplish these things? Like, do you believe that you're able to learn and hold yourself accountable?
Yeah, those questions are good. Another like a little sub thing you can ask like for the first question is like, hey, do you think it'll get you to 5, 15 or 5, 10, 15? Like, hey, do you feel like the process specifically will 100% get you to the place where you're making like 5, 10, 15? When I said 100%, it forces them because it forces them to have absolute certainty. And if they're not 100%, then they're going to be the objection right there, right? So I'm not like, hey, and then he's like, yeah, absolutely. That's like it's actually pretty good. It's like, let's say 7, 8 out of 10. It's like, do you think this is going to 100% get you? This process is specifically 100% going to get you where you can 5, 10, 15K, right? And then they're like, 100%. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like honestly, or they'll just be like, yeah, I don't know about 100%, but like I definitely believe in the process. And then you can be like, yeah, like what do you mean by that? And boom, you're already pre-handling an objection, right? So I think that would be really powerful. Here, let me keep going.
We'll push through, trial and error and difficult decisions in this process. Like, do you believe that you're able to have the resilience to make this work for yourself?
Absolutely, I do.
Awesome.
And that's a great question. Like, hey, can you accomplish this? So yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think you have that confidence now because of the belief changes that you've been making?
Yeah, I think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure if this were a year or two earlier and I didn't immediate like a lot of money, I think I definitely would have been like, maybe this is wrong. I think that's what would have started to eat at me. But now, that newfound knowledge, I think I'll be able to resist that.
Cool, absolutely, man. And yeah, because again, like you were able to get the results that you want for yourself, and more than that. But there's also the cost of the time of putting the work to do that, and also the investment of getting help to get there, right? To make sure you can just do it and get there faster. So yeah, good. I'm glad you're able to hold yourself to that new standard and move based off of where you want to be. So I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad you feel that way. And yeah, any questions about anything at all that I've shown you or the process or support? I want to make sure you feel good on it.
No, I feel good about all that. I think my biggest worry was that if this was legit, but I think through this call and through those videos beforehand, and I've done my research going to Lamar's page, his Instagram, his YouTube, and stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, because it's in this age and for like the AI and all these online scams. I'm just like, man, I really have to make sure this is like my money's actually going back into me, not just someone else's pocket. So I think that's something I'm worried about, but like the process of it all and the community, I think I understand perfectly fine.
So you believe based off of what we've shown you so far, you are confident that, hey, we're going to give you the help that you need to get where you want to go?
Yeah, I believe so. Like, I think there's always going to be a little worry, just because again, like, it really is nothing personal. I find it hard to trust people online specifically because it's like it's easier to screw someone over online than it is in person. Like lying to someone's face, I think takes a little more, depth. But again, I'm willing to put my faith in you guys and trust you guys.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, solid.
A lot, man. And you've consumed a bunch of training, done a bunch of background research, you've seen everything, it all checks out. You believe in yourself, you believe that this, you're going to take action and move in the direction that you want to go in, despite not being 100%, on board. Like, okay, I feel everything's there.
Yeah, I do believe so. I'm sorry, one second, my cat wants out.
No worries.
Again, I'm not too fluid with my money right now.
No, you're good, man. And we're definitely able to give you a bunch of different options.
It was pretty straightforward. There was, I had a question about the cost of this. There was some type of payment plan depending on the cost because, again, I'm not too fluid with my money right now.
No, you're good, man. And we're definitely able to give you a bunch of different options. And if you feel like you're able to be resourceful, then absolutely there's going to be something there that we can do. So yeah, I think we can work through something like that. But we can have a conversation. But anything outside of the investment, kind of what that looks like and making it work. Any questions outside of that? I felt really good.
Yeah, I think I've been able to understand everything pretty well.
Cool, man. That seems like it. So cool, man.
I would say like instead of saying, hey, we have a lot of options, but just accept like, yeah, absolutely, man. We can definitely talk about that. And then just be like, but everything is right. I didn't, because right now you just kind of like admit like, yeah, we can do the payment. It's like, because obviously you want to aim to PIF, like ideally, right? So it's like, so that's what I'd say.
You gotta dive into the investment. Obviously, like I said, there's time investment to be able to train, but there's also financial investment in this to learn the skills to be able to produce income that you want. So what we do is we have two different prices, right? Normally the anytime price is $8,400, but if you were to get started today and be able to find a way to make it work, we'll lower that to $6,400. And the only reason being is like we just want to incentivize people who are going to take action because those guys are going to do the work, they're going to be prepared, we can vet them, we can get them their roles, they're going to be able to go and kill. It's like just for our reputation, we want to make sure that we incentivize people who are good fits. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Do you guys would do like some type of payment plan for that, or is it just it's a one-time payment thing?
Most people do painful. That's not everybody at all. So like I said, we got a bunch of different options. And it seems like that'd be kind of the thing that you need to overcome to get started. Because it seems like you understand the process, you believe in it, you believe in yourself.
Instead of explaining, I would just be like, yeah, usually most people do it upfront. Right. Just in case he could, like might as well just ask that, right?
And he ended up pretty much doing it.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Right. So
that's just purely kind of getting started with all that financial.
Yeah, that would be the thing. So I'm trying to think if I wanted to do that in a one-time payment, some kind of bank loan or something. But I mean, if you guys have other methods or something, or if you can leave it out, I'll go figure it out.
Sure, I'm glad to be resourceful, but I'll make it a little bit easier for you. So we do have different options, and I think just the easiest way to go about just gonna have an open and honest conversation about what your finances look like, just to see like which one will make the most sense. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So I think the easiest thing to tie down first is speed income. I remember you said you're making right now $250 to $300 a week. Is that correct?
About 350 at highest.
350. And you also mentioned you're working part time as well. Would you be willing to work a little bit more if that meant you're able to make this work?
I would be. However, this is the thing. With the place I'm at, they're not trying to get more full-time workers because they don't want to pay more and they don't want to pay our insurance for us being full-time. So it's unless I can work something out with them, I'll probably just going to be stuck at this income at this place, which is also no, I'm trying to get out.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. So you also mentioned DoorDash, and that's something that I was doing in the past, or delivery services. To maybe increase a little bit.
Yeah, I would be able to. It's a weird process. I've been out of the driving for so long.
Pretty good.
So a position I can obtain again if needed.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if needed. I'm trying to explore all options. So it's not necessarily have to go down this route.
Right.
If you were to take that as an option, be resourceful and see if, okay, let's make a little bit more. How much more a month would you expect if you were to take up that opportunity?
About $1,000, like 1,000 a month, because it has been pretty dry over here as well. Like I remember on my last trip of driving for GoHub, it was really slow, and I'm not sure if that was just a whole thing or if that's like a complete, if that's gonna be how it is from now on. Hoping it's not. But yeah, I'd estimate roughly 8,000 a month.
Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, that wouldn't be anything too crazy. Like you'd be working a decent amount, but probably like 3-4 hours based off of how I remember it a couple years ago. Okay, cool. So that could bring up to the total. And then what about expenses? You mentioned that right now you're living with your grandma.
400 to 500 into that each month.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What's your
other one? But yeah, I think this one is so low, isn't it? Okay, minimum.
Let's see.
So
and he says just make 300
on this one.
Yeah. Just taking a look at his.
It looks to be just 115. Let me check my other one. But yeah, I think this one is so low, isn't it?
Once you feel good about that as well, because you're able to make a little bit more income if you choose to, right? If you're going to Grubhub, right? There's a bunch of different options with that. So would you be willing to make that extra grand doing Grubhub for a period of time? And maybe during that time you can listen to some course material and kind of go through that process and kill two birds with one stone. Is that something that you'd be willing to do?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, cool, man. So I do appreciate your resourcefulness on this because at the end of the day, it's on you to be able to make it work if you so choose to. And it seems like you're buying into the process, you believe in it, you believe in us to help you get there. It's just being able to make it work, dude. So I have a couple different options we can walk through. I think the main thing would also be open to.
You don't appreciate his resourcefulness. You think his resourcefulness is cool. It's like I mean, it's like, hey, dude, that's really cool that you're being resourceful and actually trying to solve this.
The idea of making just a little bit extra money, just to be able to feel good about everything and feel like you're comfortable with where you're at. The good news is the expenses aren't too high, right? So I think I can kind of throw you a couple ideas right to everything and 0% interest. That's the beautiful part about that. We don't really want you to be paying off interest. We don't believe in it. It's really not difficult as well. So would you be open to the idea of just kind of seeing your options with that and seeing if that's a good way to go forward with it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, man. So let me get that pulled up for you.
Okay, so just interest.
So you can go ahead and look at the chat below. Information. So it's not going to charge anything.
Right.
So you go ahead and click on that, and it'll take you to that screen that says split purchases and small monthly payments. Start now, and then loading up over time to like 10 or 12. You'll be able to pay this off, and there's no penalty for doing that.
Was it like Klarna? I guess I didn't, but some kind of like
It
payment app.
was Split It. So just
Oh.
used his. Yeah, so you're familiar with that one. He did it for one card, did it for the other card, and then it was pretty quick. And then for the rest of the call, just kind of give him some onboarding.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats, man. Yeah, I guess that's like pretty much we the call. So, awesome, man. Like hopefully that was helpful. I think
It was.
process, yeah, the
Much
process
most.
obviously makes sense, but I think it's just more of the subtle things that makes you like the thing that will make you an advanced closer, where it's like world class is like what I just said, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just so subtle, and it's also it helps a prospect more. It's like a win-win. You're not even like it's kind of
Mhm.
manipulative, but not because it just the thing that will make you better is you're just being more human and you're actually caring more, right? And just being present. That literally would like change a lot. So I hope it help, man.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna watch this multiple times because if I can be more concise and be more direct in everything and the way I ask questions and the way I come across, the body language, that's gonna be the thing that gets me to the next level, and I'll be doing less work than what I was doing beforehand because I'm speaking more and I have to think more. So we're doing less work and it'll be more efficient. So yeah, thank
Absolutely,
you.
man.
This is very helpful.
Yeah, sounds good, bro. I do have to hop off here, but dude, I like again, like I'll do this anytime. So literally, if you want me to do a
Yeah.
call review next week, let me know. Let me know. I'd love to see like what you took from this and like what you improved. Happy to do that. But I'm just so proud of you, bro. Like I've always been by your side. You know that.
Yeah.
Like I know you're a coaching client, but like we've had these calls for like I think I know you pretty well. Like compared
You do.
compared to a lot of like managers. Like I know I've seen the entire journey. So always here by your side, man. Go crush it. Book a call next week if you need to, and then or I mean, just book a call next week. Like let's do this again.
Sweet.
And yeah, you got this, man. You got this.
Thank you, Manoj.
Absolutely, bro.
Take care, man.
All right, see you, man. Bye.